awesome people, and welcome back to my unboxing of the SuperDuperTCG mystery pack. If you didn't see the previous episode, go check that out because we opened up some pretty interesting cards which range from Generation 1 remake cards. There was even a Generation 2 card, I do believe. It may have even been Generation 3, I'm not really too sure. There's some e-reader cards from Generation 3 and a whole bunch of other cool cards as well. So if you want to check out the website from where I bought these from, that'll be in the pinned comment of this video. And an extra disclaimer here as well, I am no way affiliated with this at all. This is run by SuperDuper Danny. I only saw it on Twitter one day and thought I might give this a shot and a little quick look at to see if it was even worth the money, which, by the way, it is indeed worth the money. And it's actually quite fun to open up because you have no idea what you're going to get whatsoever, which makes this even probably more fun than opening up a booster pack or anything along those lines for the Pokemon TCG. And she has a whole bunch of things ranging from singles that you can buy from a couple of sets, whatever she has for sale. You can even buy a Pokemon trading card online codes as well from her. And you can even buy some fun little stuff like mystery packs or some seal packs if she's got them on stock. At the moment of the time of recording this particular video, she does not have any of the mystery packs left. So if you do anyway interested in these mystery packs, make sure to bookmark the site. And she may even have them up again for sale when she has more cards in stock. So just a quick little brief explanation on this particular mystery pack. The mystery pack mostly contained a lot of common and uncommon cards, and there's a lot of surprises in these particular packs as well, because one of the cards I pulled was actually like one of the cards I actually had when I first started Pokemon TCG right back in the very, very, very early days, and that was like a structure deck for Erica and Blaine. It was actually Erica's Oddish, which brought back quite a lot of memories and made me feel quite old. So that's how interesting these particular mystery packs are. So you have no idea what you're gonna get, and you have no idea how far down memory lane they're gonna take you. So this one should go a little bit more quicker. We're just gonna be looking through the cards. I do believe these are gonna be mostly commons and uncommons. If they're not, then we're in for a bit of a treat then. So let's get to it. So straight off we got a Lycanroc. That's a rare, by the way, so that's pretty cool. We actually opened up a couple of rares at the very end of the last episode, so it's not just commons and uncommons, but they'll mostly be commons and uncommons, I do believe, with the occasional rare thrown in to mix things up, so that's quite cool to see. Then we have a Buffalint. Then we have, I can never pronounce this dude's name, Sophocles? Electric dude, I'm gonna call him that. Discard 2 cards from your hand if you do draw 4 cards. So you basically lose 3 cards because you gotta play the card, then you gotta discard 2 cards, but you do end up gaining 4 cards, so you probably gain, at the end, 1 card, considering you gotta lose 3 to gain 1 in the end is pretty much, but it's still worth it at the end because you kind of get to get rid of 2 cards that you may not need, and potentially draw 4 cards that could potentially be game-changing. And I just bit my tongue, that wasn't very nice. Then we have Salandit, we have Pumpkaboo, Corfish, then we have Starly, Acrobike, sorry. That's my dyslexia kicking up again. Look at the top 2 cards from your deck and put one of them into your hand, discard the other 2 cards, so that could very well work with decks that require you to have cards in the discard pile in order to build up a little bit of momentum with Pokemon bodies or item cards. As I said in the previous video, there actually are a couple of strategies you can utilize with them. We actually saw a couple of those cards in the some of the packs we actually drew. Anyways, look at the pink bottom Slakoth there. That's a very attractive sight there. Then we have a Alolan and Rattata, a Mudkip, Shuppet, Bagon. That's an interesting Bagon. Then again, it's a Dragon card, so they tend to have some very unique energy requirements, and a lot of the time you can actually get cards that suit the Dragon deck. From personal memory though, I think the Dragon decks are probably some of the hardest decks to run because they require, as I said, some very, very, very interesting energy cards called blend cards. I'm not too sure if they've been reintroduced into the TCG from modern days, but in 5th generation, when Dragon cards were on the rise, there was a particular Garchomp deck that utilized, obviously like Gabites that had good search power and all that, Blend Energy cards were obviously the go for that particular deck, so not sure how they work these days, if they use things like Rainbow Energy cards, or as I said, if Blend Energy has returned for Dragon support. It actually would be very interesting to learn how they actually run in meta these days. Anyways, I digress. We've got Lombre. We have Energy Shift. Now that's an old card I'm familiar with. That's a 4th generation card. I only know that because I've got plenty of these Energy Switch. I think they're in a lot of the theme decks for 4th generation. We have a Grover, Pansage, Croagunk, Solrock. I actually quite cards like this because they've got draw power as any energy card requirement. So mainly you just use these, draw as many cards as you like, and then just sack it off after that. It's basically trying like early games draw power, which is why I kind of like these particular cards. If you do see me like play particular gimmick decks and all that, you'll see me use quite a lot of those cards to try and get early draw power. Alright, then we have a Larvitar. I swear that's a 4th generation card because I swear I've got that particular card, and it's got a level next to it, which tells me it's 4th generation. And it also, oh yeah, it definitely is 4th generation because it's got DPBP, which I think was like Diamond Pearl Battle Pack or something like that. And yeah, that's making me feel old. 2008 or 2009, I would have been riding my bike all the way down to the shops to buy TCG packs. Oh, that's an e-reader card. Where that's going over there. I'm not going to give them any time on camera because they've got to be sorted into like sleeves ASAP. Very, very, very quickly. I've got a bit of a re-interest in e-reader cards. That's the only reason why. Now that's another 3rd or 4th generation card. I can tell because at the top they've got little circles on them, and I just remember that from 4th generation. Ooh! Oh, I've seen this card before. Reverse Valley. Someone actually used this against me. I think it might have been one of my Discord members when I was playing up against him. I could be wrong. Oh, but this is really cool because depending on like what way you put it, depends on the effect. So if it's put this way, choose which way this card faces before you play it. The attack of this player facing down's Pokemon do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this would be great for my Dark deck that I have. And then if you place it this way, choose which way this card faces before you play it. Any damage done to this player's fairy Pokemon, no, that's Steel, sorry, Pokemon by an opponent's attack is reduced by 10. So you want to hope though, if you play this card, like you might be running a metal deck, you want to hope that your opponent's not running a dark deck, because then that also gives them support as well. But once it's down, you actually cannot change it. So I really, really like those cards. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime actually kind of like dabbled into that type of thing, like depending on which way the card faced would depend on like the effect of that card, but in the actual TCG for Yu-Gi-Oh! It wasn't actually quite the case. So I'm kind of glad that Pokemon itself kind of dabbled into that type of gimmick effect, because I reckon it's really, really, really cool. Anyways, moving on, we got Salandit, we got Fennekin, Litleo, oh damn, look at that Furfuru card, that's awesome! Return, you may draw into your 5 card. Oh, that'd be a nice early game card that I would probably try and run. So I'd run maybe like two of those particular cards, because if you can draw them anywhere in the game, you might be able to get some free early cards, or you can just use them as discard fodder by that point. But again, that's mainly for a gimmick deck. I wouldn't use them for like a competitive tournament deck at all. We have Skrelp. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. So this would be the equivalent of 5th generation's Blend Energy. So this particular card, Unit Energy, is a special energy card. So there's tends to be no way of getting these cards back, and they have some special rulings as well when it comes to deck building. I think you can only use a certain amount of these particular cards compared to the usual, is it 3 or 4 that you can run in Pokemon? I'm probably going to get mixed up with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm not going to mention that in case I'm incorrect. So this one energy, it normally provides like a typeless energy, but while attached to a Pokemon, it provides fighting, dark, and fairy, but provides only one energy at a time. So these are mainly made for Dragon Pokemon decks. So as I said, they tend to run some really bizarre energy requirements. You might get a Dragon deck that requires fire, water, and I don't know, a dragon energy. Is there a dragon energy? I don't think there is dragon energy. I don't know, it might require like 1 energy of any type. So that's a really weird, bizarre energy requirement. And then another dragon card might require, you know, grass, water, and I don't know, fighting? Maybe? So there's no way you're gonna be building a deck that has like 4 different energy cards needed to run that particular deck. This is where these particular cards in. So you might run like 1 common energy card that all cards do utilize, which most times would be the fighting energy card, I do believe, which is what I think I ran in my old dragon deck from 5th generation. But mainly it'd be consisting of this unit energy card. See, I can't remember the particular rulings with these cards. If you had a unit energy of this particular nature, does that also count as a number if you use like another different unit energy? I'm not going to make a comment on that particular ruling because I completely have not played it a very long time, and these only were reintroduced recently, so no comment, but I'm just going to say that's what you use for dragon decks. That was the point I was trying to make. I went very long-winded on that one. I do apologise for that. Moving on, we have Pelipper. Then we have Ultra Ball, which can be quite a handy little card there. I tend to stay away from Ultra Balls and all that in favour of, say, like Nest Balls and all that, where it's easier to search out cards from your deck and able to mill it a little bit quicker. Discard 2 cards from your hand if you do search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you have a deck, as I said, that utilises getting cards from the discard pile, Ultra Ball is actually the better way to go, but if you don't have any way of like recycling cards, or you really need search power in your deck for particular cards, Ultra Ball actually is the way to go in some cases. But in most decks that I run, I tend to try and stay away from discard powers unless I have some way of getting cards back from discard. Then again, it might be better to run Ultra Balls and be worth sacking off 2 cards that you may not need or whatnot for more competitive play. So I don't know, it just depends on like your particular play style. If you're not so competitive and you just want easy draws and all that from your or search power from your deck, go with cards that search out particular requirements that are easier to do without discarding. If you are really competitive, probably go for the Ultra Ball. That's probably the easiest way I can explain whether or not you use an Ultra Ball or not. Then we have Cressola, Carnivine, Hitmonchan. Look at that derpy Hitmonchan. Oh my dear God. Whoever that artist is, I hope they got an extra pay rise, because that's damn awesome. Oh my dear God, that's cool. Then we have a Larvitar. We have an Execute, Grimer. Oh, that Litten's so cool. Then we have a Potion. Ooh. Then we have a Reverse Hollow Level Ball, which are some of my favourite search cards in the game. So this is one of the cards I was talking about that you could use in opposition to an Ultra Ball. Level Ball is definitely a card I definitely used in my old Dragon deck for 5th generation. That was by the way, when I keep saying my Dragon deck, this was actually a meta Dragon deck that was used for competitive 5th generation. Search your deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less, reveal it, then put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. So the card I most times would be searching out would be Gibble, Swablu. I can't remember if Gabite had 90 or less. I don't think it did. It wasn't really searchable that way, I don't think. But to mill my deck a little bit quicker to get the Gibbles and the Swabblus a little bit easier so I could evolve into Altaria, Gabite, whatnot, I would use Level Ball. And I've used Level Ball a couple of times in a few other decks as well. Just easier search power, and those decks at the time did not utilize getting cards back from the discard pile, which is why I used that quite a bit. And I didn't see that potion. Did I see that potion there before? That's an e-reader card. That needs to go there, so I definitely must have overlooked it just because I got excited when I saw the Reverse Hollow Level Ball. Alright. Experience share. Pokemon Center. Once during your player's turn, that player may heal 20 damage from one of his or her bench Pokemon. Not really a good card. There's probably better cards out there you could do for healing. When it comes to bench Pokemon though, most times you wouldn't really worry about healing them. It's your active Pokemon, you might want to focus on healing more. Sorry, I need a drink of water. And of course it's not open. That's a fail and a half. Oh, that's some good quality H2O there. I like electrolyte water. Alright, moving on. We have a Wurmple. This would be a 4th generation card. A couple of marks here and there on the card. it still doesn't matter. It's probably in better condition what my 4th generation cards are. Then, alright, this is interesting. That actually does look like a Generation 1 card. Just something about the way it looks. It doesn't have a symbol on it either. If it was a remake, I do believe that has a symbol on it, which means... Oh, I might have to look back on my footage from the other unboxing I did, because I'm doing this recording straight after the previous video. And I don't think they had symbols on it, which means they're Gen 1 base cards, which means they're going to go on my folder very, very quickly at the end of this recording. Moving on. We have Scyther, a very cool looking Scyther indeed. I do believe that's from a 6th generation deck, because that symbol looks very familiar. That I think I may have even completed that collection. Dark Claw! I think I may have abused the living hell out of this card in the 6th generation meta. If this card is attached to a dark Pokemon, each of the attacks of that Pokemon does 20 more damage to the active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. Now, I do believe this may have gone on my Yveltal EX card. Again, this was another meta card from 6th generation. This was like early day 6th generation meta, where Yveltal EX was on the rampage with Darkrai EX as well. Yveltal EX had a effect very similar to a couple of Mewtwo EX cards that have come out for meta. Basically, the more energy cards that are attached to the Yveltal and to the opponent's Pokemon as well determines how much damage the Yveltal's move did, which is very strong considering in meta, you want energy cards on your Pokemon ASAP to be able to do anything. Next up is a very handy card to have in any deck is Rare Candy. Choose one of your basic Pokemon and play. If you have a Stage 2 card in your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, put that card on the basic Pokemon. This counts as evolving that Pokemon. You can't use that card during your first turn or on a basic Pokemon that was just put into play this turn. So you put it onto your bench, wait a turn, then play Rare Candy, and balla bing, balla boom! You have a Stage 2 Pokemon straight away without having to find that Stage 1 card. Very handy indeed. Right, then we have Sabrina's Suggestion. Your opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a supporter card you find there and use the effect of that card as an effect of this card. So it's a substitute basically. You use this card, then opponent reveals their hand. If there's like a card in there, say like a Lily for example, you end up using the Lily effect as this card's effect, which is quite handy because that would mean you get to draw 6 cards. Oh sorry, you get to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. So, that's quite a handy card. So if they've got a stacked up hand, it'd be probably the best time to use Sabrina's Suggestion. We've got Klefki, Squirtle, got a cute looking Pancham there, we've got a Dragonair. See what I mean by the very unique energy requirements there, water and electric? I mean, if you're running a water electric deck, that'd be quite fine and dandy, but in most cases you're probably not, and especially if you've got to run this with like a Dragonite or a Dratini as well, and who's to say the Dragonite's going to have a grass type energy requirement there. That's when blend energy comes, or sorry, the unit energy is what it's called these days, would come in very handy. Then you have Jasmine. Search your deck for a steel energy Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you go second and it's your first turn, search for 5 steel Pokemon instead of 1, then shuffle your deck. Damn, that's a nice support for a steel deck. Ooh, I likes that one. But it only, like, that really good effect only applies if you go for your very first turn, similar to that Lily card that I just mentioned. Oh, still that would be worth even just in your deck alone, like even running like 3 copies of that card, because you're still going to search your deck for a steel Pokemon or a metal Pokemon and put it right into your hand. Still great search power, so yeah, I'd still run that. Natural Cure for a Combustion. And then you have Seadra, Darmanitan, I do believe I have that Darmanitan card. We have Vibrava, Jangamo. I wonder how good Jangamo... Actually, no, I wouldn't have that Darmanitan card. I have a card similar to that, but not that exact Darmanitan. Now, I just noticed the icon on it, or the symbol for the collection. So we have Amora, Haluncha. Hey, Japanese! Ah! Oh, that's so cool! Okay, that definitely threw me off. I was not expecting a Japanese card at all. I think I've got like a handful of Japanese cards already laying around my house, like laying around the office, so Story behind that, I didn't purposely go out and get the Japanese cards either. Well, if you've seen this channel, you'd know that I buy a whole bunch of things from Japan when it comes to merchandise or just anything Japanese related. And if it's Pokemon related, when they arrive to my letterbox and all that and I open them up, I tend to find Pokemon cards inside as a way of saying thank you for purchasing this item from us. Have a free Pokemon card. And I've got things like Tapu Koko from them. I've gotten a couple of like just basic cards. I've got a Manaphy from them as well. And just to see an old Japanese, what's that, Generation 2 card? That is cool! Oh man, that's so different compared to like the English cards. Like the Pokemon's name is a lot more bolder. The fonts, the whole layout is so much, it's so different. Damn, thank you so much for that. That's gonna go in my Japanese collection. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna seal that one up for sure. Like, I don't want that one getting ruined. That's gonna be taken very good care of. Right, then we have a Aromatisse, Perugly. We have Kricketot. What is that drowsy card? Why is that a thing? Then we have Tynamo, Cutiefly, Litten, Torkoal, Ultra Recon Squad. Discard up to 2 Ultra Beast cards from your hand. Draw 3 cards for each card you discarded in this way. So, if you discard 2 Ultra Beast cards, does that mean you get 6 cards in return? If you do, then that's quite good draw power. I like that indeed. Especially if the cards require or work very well with the discard pile, then yeah, that's a very good card. Whismur, we have a Torchic, Arachnid, Weakness Policy. The Pokemon this card is attached to has no weakness. Oh man. I wonder if I can use that in some type of gimmick or if that's even used in any meta decks at all, because that's an interesting effect. Give a Pokemon no weakness. Okay, that's cool. I gotta look into that one. Then we have an E-Reader card, which is going right over there. We have a Dewgong with a Pokebody, which is telling me 4th generation most likely. As long as Dewgong is asleep, any damage done to Dewgong by attacks is reduced by 40. And its attack even works in with that as well. Collapse requires 2 water energy and 1 energy of any type, does 60 damage, and Dewgong is now asleep. Now, asleep from my memory requires you to flip a coin each turn. If you flip a heads, the Pokemon wakes up. If you flip a tails, the Pokemon remains asleep. However, it doesn't work like the actual main games because you can still be poisoned and all that, so you can be asleep and poisoned at the exact time. So, don't think being asleep's a good thing. It can be a bad thing, but in this particular case, asleep is a good thing because you actually do gain a resistance of 40. So it does give it a better chance of surviving. 90 HP isn't exactly what you call great, but this was in a different era where Pokemon cards didn't exactly hit the amazing attack damage or HP amounts that modern day cards do. So that's really interesting to see. I mean, there's an example. Panpour has 70 HP and Dewgong had 90, just as an example of like how much has really changed from the old school, you know, 4th generation, 3rd generation, 2nd generation, or even like the original base collection TCG mechanics and all that, and numbers and statistics really. So then we have then you go Cutiefly has 30. Not particularly proving my point there. Thanks Cutiefly, you just completely broke my argument. Then we have Jupiter. Eevee! Oh, this is definitely one of the meta cards. Energy Evolution. When you attach a basic energy card from your hand to this Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon that is the same type as that energy card and put that onto this Pokemon. To evolve it, then shuffle your deck. AKA getting out Glaceon GX, I do believe was the go-to Eevee evolution. I'm not sure if Sylveon was actually part of that meta, but I do know for a fact Glaceon GX was the card that a lot of people went to. Stuffle. We have that's a cool picture of Torracat. I quite like that. It took me a little while to kind of like gather the perspective of it, but now that actually is quite cool. Then we have Breloom, Minun, Azelf, Crash Awake. Discard 2 water energy cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. Now, there had to have been some way of utilising that with a way of getting back energy cards from the discard pile, because that's quite a big loss there. Inkay, Scatterbug, Jupiter, Noibat, Clauncher. We have another Ascension Gibble there. We have Flababy, Curebone, Honedge, Magnemite, another Inkay, another Fairy Garden from X and Y, and then we have Rockruff, which we actually started this deck with Lycanroc. Nice, I like that. That went full circle in the end. Now we have one last pack of 100 to open up, right here, and then we'll do it. So far, as I said, like, this has actually been a ton of fun to open up, and just getting that Japanese Spinarak has really made my night. I can't believe that is a thing. That's so damn cool. Alright, so straight off the bat we have a card that I am not familiar with. Evelyn, I do believe she's a Battle Frontier person. You can play this card only if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Stage 1 Pokemon. Draw 4 cards if that meets the requirements. Then we have Tentacruel, Judge Whistle. So there's 2 effects on this one, but you can only choose one. Draw a card, or put a Judge card from your discard pile into your hand. There had to have been some type of strategy for that. Now I'm curious. I gotta look into that strategy. We have Nidorino, Torkoal, Yungoos, Magma, Bellsprout. Then we have a Gen 1 Jigglypuff there with Lullaby and Pound. Followed up by an E-Reader Psyduck, which means that's going over here. Oh, how cool is this? Zygarde, 10% form. So, Earthen Aura, damage from this Pokemon's attacks isn't affected by weakness or resistance. Damage from this Pokemon's attack isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So that means that can be both a good thing and a bad thing, because it says it's not affected by weakness or resistance. So if a Pokemon is weak to fighting cards, then you can forget about that with Peacemaker. But if the Pokemon is resistant to fighting cards, then that is a good thing, because it's still going to do that 30 plus damage. And the move Peacemaker is 30 plus damage, or base 30 damage. 1 fighting energy card required. If your opponent has an Ultra Beast in play, this attack does 30 more damage. So, grand total of 60, but if it is resisted, still does 30 or 60. If weakness, normally it will do either 60 or 120 damage, but still remains at that 60 or 30. See, that's the bad part of it. It could have done a whopping 120 damage, but nope, not going to happen with Earthen Power. If I'm understanding that card correctly, damage from this Pokemon's attack. Yeah, I am reading that properly. Alright, Protective Orb. Attach Protective Orb to one of your whoa. I completely skipped a line. That's my dyslexia talking, not me. Attach Protective Orb to one of your evolved Pokemon, excluding Pokemon EX, so this sounds like a 4th generation card maybe, that doesn't already have a Pokemon tool attached to it. If the Pokemon Protective Orb is attached to is a basic Pokemon or Pokemon EX, discard Protective Orb. As long as Protective Orb is attached to a Pokemon, that Pokemon has no weakness, aka the old school weakness policy. Right, I can see why that would have been nerfed in some way or balanced in a way, because giving that to an EX card back in those days, it would have made it quite, yeah, very scary to go up against. So, I kind of like with Pokemon, unlike a particularly other TCG or card game that I play at the moment, there at least is some balancing to an extent. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sorry I had to call out Yu-Gi-Oh! There's just, balance just isn't a term that you put with Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, you have Mawile, Trico, Skorupi, Heatmore. I love the artwork for Heatmore there, that's really cool. Wimpod! I like Wimpod. And then you have Kodo Agumi, which is cross-stitch. Again, I like the cross-stitch artworks for Pokemon cards, they're really cool. Staravia, Kakuna, Dragonair, Pupitar, Hippotile, Weedle, Oddish, Metapod, Surskit, That's a cool looking Slugma there. That's awesome. I love how they kind of went with the way that Slugma is just pure lava, which is somewhat liquidy, and made it go into these really distorted shapes and made it like it's crawling down. Looks like a cliff area there. That's really cool. See, I like Pokemon TCG for this reason. The artworks are really cool. That's the main reason why I got into Pokemon TCG. Wasn't really for the competitive aspect, that kind of came naturally afterwards. Main reason though, collecting and just looking at the artworks. Pampor, then we have an old school Diglett. That might be one of the old school ones, not really too sure there. Actually, as I can't tell between the remakes or the original base cards. I think that might be one of the original base cards, just judging by how different it is to the other cards. It might be. As I said, I can't really tell, so I'm going to do a comparison afterwards off screen with some of my base cards I have already around the office and see if that actually is a legitimate base card. If it isn't, I'm squilling so much on the inside. Magikarp, Rattata, then we have Hilo-Whisk, which is damn cool. Flodet, unidentified fossil. Now, I know at one point in X and Y there was a huge fossil meta, like there was a whole bunch of cards dedicated to fossil cards. So I wonder if that was still a thing even in modern current meta, or if this is a card from that particular fossil era. I'm not really too sure. As I said, I jumped out of TCG for a very long time, so it got a little bit too expensive for me personally. Alright, then we have Staryu, we have Laron, we have another Jangmo. It even has Bulletproof, which is the actual ability it has in the main games. That's really cool. Shrine of Punishment. Between turns, put 1 damage counter on each Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX, both yours and your opponent. Now there has to be a strategy working around that Shrine of Punishment. Now I'm aware that some cards get more power on their moves depending on how much damage counters they have on their cards. I think that might be working around that particular strategy, which was a strategy I think in the 6th gen meta with Team Magma. There was like something from the Team Magma little mini booster expansions that actually made it so it was a stadium card that dealt damage on certain cards, which meant in turn that you could actually power up that particular card using that particular stadium card. I'm pretty sure I've got a deck that's revolving around that. I'm pretty sure, but if that's the case, then that'd be the use of that particular stadium card, especially with a nasty effect like that. Then we have Excelga, Ferroseed, Execute. We have another Onix. Hold on. That's not another Onix. They ain't just another Onix. That's a different language Onix. French, I think. It's either French or is it Italian? I think off the top of my head that's French. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the French Gen 1 Onix cards. So we had Japanese, and now we got French, which makes me think if I skipped over another multi-language card already in this pack, which I'm probably going to see when I'm editing this video and be like, oh, why didn't I see that? Okay, that's really cool. Now I'm getting very excited. Pokeball? Tell you what, my multi-language collection of cards is going to start growing after this. We have Stuffle, Litten, Shuppet, Sneasel, Lillip. That's an old card. That's a very old card indeed. That's a Gen 3 card. Oh my god! It's another Erica card! Oh! Seriously, stop making me feel old. That's an old card, because I know for a fact they weren't remade. That's an original card. Seriously, I need to go through all of these cards, and cards like this I need to seal up ASAP in like my sleeves, or even like the hardcover ones, because they're cards you do not come across very easily. We have Pansy, Bergmite, Digsby, Golurk, a derpy looking... Seriously, I hope the artist, because that looks like the same artist who did the Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan artworks that I said were derpy too. I'm hoping he got a good pay rise or just good pay for doing these artworks. Then we have Pikachu. All Night Party. Alright, once during each player's turn, if that player's active Pokemon is asleep, he or she may remove that special condition and heal 30 damage from that Pokemon. Wow, alright. I can think of a couple of strategies that would work in, because it would definitely counteract any downs or negative effects of any moves that put that Pokemon to sleep. Plus, you also get the buff effect of healing them for 30 damage. So you can take damage if they're asleep, then they wake up and heal 30. As I said, I can think of a couple of strategies, but not... Like, I'm not going to say them off the top of my head, because I actually can't remember the particular cards that would suit this particular condition. But I do know for a fact there might be... I mean, even for example, that Dugong that put itself to sleep with its move, that could even work very well for this particular stadium card. Something like that. But probably the worst example I can give, because that Dugong wasn't exactly like something could very utilize that stadium card. So, yeah, if I did more research onto that card, I could definitely give you a couple of interesting gimmick strategies for that one. Doublade, Skiddo, I love Skiddo, it's one of my favourite grass types. Kangaskhan, search your deck for up to 2 evolution Pokemon, build them and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. That'd be the only reason why I'd run that card, is just for fast evolution. Screw Mega Punch, it's just there for search power for evolution cards and just stacking my bench there. It's just a shame though it didn't have any way of doing draw power, but then again, draw power and search power, that'd be one extremely powerful Kangaskhan. Then we have Meowth, Metapod in a more realistic look. That's an E-rare card, and that's an old... Yep, that's getting sealed. We have a Beldum. Even just like feeling that card, I'm like, yep, that's an old card, because it just has a different type of feel to it compared to like a more modern day card. So it's a shame these videos aren't 4D, because you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But if you do have some old cards laying around, just give them a little bit of a feel, and you can definitely tell the difference if you were to go back and then feel like a more modern day card. Then we have the Meta Eevee, Zora, Energy Recycle System. 2 effects, but you must only choose one. Put a basic energy card from your discard pile into your hand, so that would work in, like I said, there was that Crush Awake card where you had to discard an energy card, or sorry, a water energy card, and then draw 2 cards. That'd be one way of getting back that card you discarded. Or shuffle 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. So there's a way of getting back 3 or getting back a singular card and putting them straight into your hand. It just really depends on like what type of demand you have for energy cards at the time of using that particular card. Then we have a Piplup. We have a Generation 2 Mareep there. Pretty sure it's a Generation 2, like, hold on. Kinda hard to tell, but it kind of does have the old feel, but as I said, I honestly do not know if they remade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's one of the old ones. There might be an easier way of telling. Maybe not. I'm pretty sure like back in the day they were a little bit more thicker than normal cards. I could be wrong. But it's definitely got a different border to like what the modern day cards are. So I'd say that's one of the original Gen 2 cards. I think. I don't know why I'm shipping there thinking they were bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Because Yu-Gi-Oh, like, I swear they were a little bit bigger, which is why I had to cut my old school cards to actually make them fit in sleeves. So I could be tripping there. Or the sleeves are a little bit smaller and only fit Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Phoebus, Salander, Rockruff, another Skiddo, which is quite cute there, another Torkoal, Howl, gotta have Howl cards, and I'm kind of glad because I don't have any Howl cards, and they're very much needed for modern day decks. So it's just a standard draw 3 cards, that's it. Very handy to have in decks just for like your draw power. Then you have Mallow, search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck. Shuffle your deck and then put those cards on top of it in any order. So Search your deck for 2 cards. So it's just an easier way of putting cards at the top of your deck. You just want to hope that you don't have to shuffle your deck again afterwards thanks to your damn opponent there. So it can be quite a handy card, but it is kind of a little bit slower compared to a few other cards that just outright search that card and then put it straight into your hand. So it can be quite handy, but as I said, it is a little bit slower. Alright, we have Tentacruel, Simisage, we're near the end by the way, Skrelp, Kakuna, Nidorina, Rainbow Energy. Now this is, I've mentioned this already, I can't remember if it was in this particular episode or the previous episode, but Rainbow Energy is very similar to Unit Energy, but it gives the Pokemon access to any type of energy in the game. Now I do believe these aren't in meta anymore, it's more Unit Energy these days. Depending on how far into like the expansions we are, because the competitive side of Pokemon only includes like a certain amount of expansions, and once they move up certain amount of expansions, and like older expansions are no longer allowed in competitive. So depending on what rare Rainbow Energy is, I'm not even sure if you can even still use it these days, but yeah, basically the same thing as Unit, but gives you more options for energy cards. Very, very, very handy on Dragon cards. Then we have an amazing Torracat card there, Walma, Larvitar, then we have another Basal Jungle Parasect, Mysterious Treasure. Discard a card from your hand if you do, search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. That's amazing drop. That can be quite handy too, depending on like, as I said, like that straight up search power and puts it into your hand, compared to like Mallow, you search 2 cards and put it at the top of your deck. See what I mean by Mallow is a little bit slower? Cards like that put it straight into your hand at the cost of like discarding 1 card, but that's fine. Then we have another E-Reader card with Geodude, that's going over in the E-Reader section. And then we have, that's definitely an old card. Wow! That's an old Team Rocket card. That's like, oh, what's that generation? That might be like the 3rd pack that came out in Generation 1. That's indeed a legit old card. That's very old. That's making me feel very old at the moment. Extremely old. Potion Energy. That I have not heard of. If you play this card from your hand, remove 1 damage counter from the Pokemon you attached it to. If it has any Potion Energy... Let me read that again, because I think I just butchered it. If you play this card from your hand, remove 1 damage counter from the Pokemon you attach it to. If it has any, Potion Energy provides any energy type card doesn't count as a basic energy, so it's a special energy. Provides a typeless energy. So, alright. I can give a more modern day example of that too. It's kind of like the herbal energy that came out in 6th generation. So it basically would play, like you'd only play it really to give it like a typeless energy to that Pokemon. And it also has the additional benefit of a very weak potion of like healing 1 damage counter, if the Pokemon had any, of course. So, I'm pretty sure Double Colorless existed back in those days, because that's in the old Game Boy Color games. I'm just trying to think, would have had any benefits? It could have, but at that point, as I said, you're better off playing Double Colorless at that point, and then using basic healing cards like potions or, it was Pokemon Center around in those days? I can't remember, but there were definitely better healing cards. So, I mean, it's interesting to say the least, but I personally, in that meta, I probably would have played Double Colorless and then just used basic healing to heal up my Pokemon instead. So I don't know, it's a very interesting card, and that particular concept of playing energy cards to give a energy to the Pokemon plus healing has returned in the later generations. As I said, it was called Herbal Energy, which provided grass energy and healed the Pokemon, I think for like 10 or 20, I can't remember, which was very handy as well for grass themed decks. So even if it wasn't a particularly good card back in those particular days. It has, I guess, been the inspiration for a couple of other cards that have come out since. As I said, main example being Herbal Energy there. There have probably been many more cards that have been very similar to this particular card, and I could be very wrong too. It could actually be a very decent card, but from what I'm looking at, Double Colorless was still superior, and it's a special energy card too, so they're both basically the same type of card. It just would have depended if Double Colorless was indeed allowed in the rulebook at that time, because as I said, just the way that Pokemon TCG works. But at the same time, I'm not familiar with how the rulings would have worked, because I was a little young kid at that time who only had fun collecting the theme decks and all that. And I didn't have the, obviously we did have the money to go do booster packs either, and I don't even think my town even sold the booster packs. I think we only just sold the theme decks and that was it. Alright, so no longer feeling old now. God, that threw me back. That threw me back more than 20 years. Damn. Hold on, how old's that card? 1995, 1996. Oh no, 1999 to 2000. Okay, 19 years ago? Generation 2 looking at, maybe even 21 years ago? That gives you an example of how old I would have been. I'm 26 at the moment, just to, you know, 21 years ago. Yeah, that I would have been 5. Yeah, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. We're moving on. Oh god, that's horrifying. Super Scoop Up, Cubone, Clauncher, Goomy, Potown. Whenever any player plays a Pokemon from the hand to evolve one Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. Damn, that's nasty. That actually would probably benefit decks that just utilize GX or EX cards only, which there are decks that do that. They're really annoying to go up against, but they're very anti-evolution, so Potown would definitely work better for those particular decks. Lavesta, Corphish, Lucamine. Put 2 in any combination of supporter and stadium cards from your discard pile into your hand, so that's basically a recycle card. Great for bringing back supporters and stadium cards, especially if there's decks that you find that counter stadium cards, which there definitely are decks that are made for that, or just even in competitive, if you're going up against opponents that have a way of countering anti-meta with stadium and all that, they will bring anti-stadium cards. Lucamine would be great for bringing back stadium and just making sure that you can use your stadium card again. Oh, that felt good. Damn, that water was definitely needed. Cosmog, and the last card is Inkay, and that is it for all the cards. Was it worth it in the end? Heck yeah, it was. I mean, heck, I got like two different language cards that, like non-English cards. That is so cool, and the Japanese one is super duper cool for me. And even older than that, we have like a Generation 1 base Onyx in French. As I said, if I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comment section below. That is really cool. And the other reason that this was so worth it was for these awesome cards. Now, I definitely didn't explain it in this video. We also got the, is this rare? No, it's just the common Clefairy e-reader card. But these from my memory, I'll zoom out in a second. These from my memory though, are actually now becoming a bit of a collector's thing. People are like out there searching for e-reader cards online. I know in the Japanese market these are very, very expensive to buy. Don't know about in the English market, but there definitely is a market for e-reader cards from this particular era. Just mainly because they're a collector's item, and the e-reader was just something that just died after a couple of months, especially in the West. In the Japanese area, that kind of continued on for a little bit more. There's a couple of Japanese exclusive e-reader packs. But yeah, just to see these again, it's like, hot dang! I'm really glad I get to see these again, because I had them growing up as a kid, but I completely destroyed them because I'm an idiot child. And I did definitely fall out of Pokemon. I think even my parents got rid of some of my e-reader cards, so this alone, just to see them back in actual physical form that I can touch and seal up again, is like, oh, I'd love to imitate what the squeal is inside of me, but it's gonna be so high pitched that I'm not even going to try. But I am super like, so excited that I get e-reader cards in front of me again from Generation 3. It's just like, oh, that's so cool. So yeah, that's a massive thank you there for that one. I know it was just completely random, but that is super duper cool. So yeah, my overall opinions for the mystery packs from SuperDuperTCG, as if that didn't summarize it, then I'll just put it in simple terms. Definitely worth it. So hopefully the mystery packs do come back online, because at the time of recording this particular video, she has none listed on the website. But if they do come back, I may even try and get my hands on another one to try and open up and see what we get from there. I may even explore a couple of the Pokemon Trading Card Online codes as well that she's got. Probably not so much the singles and all that, unless I get unless I get really desperate for singles for my own collections, which is something I do quite a bit. Because after a while, once you've opened up 100 booster packs, or maybe even more, to try and complete a collection, by that point it is getting quite expensive to try and complete a collection. And I'm someone who goes for, you know, just the base collection itself, then you got your rares, and you got your holo rares, and you got your secret rares, but I also go for the reverse holos as well. Now, going for reverse holos is one of the most tedious tasks to do, because by that point you're opening up booster packs and you're just getting the same reverse holos after the same reverse holos. It definitely gets on the very expensive side. By that point you may as well just chuck in like a couple of dollars to buy the reverse holo that you actually need. So that could be another reason to go shopping at SuperDuperTCG. Obviously, being a more independent seller, she's not going to have the variety or the stock that, say, Troll and Toad, and I'm pretty sure it's called Pokevote that I've bought from before. But in regards to those two companies, because they're massive, they have a lot more suppliers and all that. Obviously, from an independent, she's not going to have the stock, but price-wise, it's still very worth it. I've seen singles on there for Rainbow GX cards. They were like $8, which is a very good deal. Then again, as I said, I'm not really too sure if competitive demand really affects those prices at all, because as I said, I haven't been in competitive, even looked at meta for TCG for a very long time now, so I'm completely out of it. But I did see some very nice cards on there that people would be indeed after. There was like a Marsho GX that was sold out. There was a couple of the Pokemon Detective cards, a Mewtwo on there that was sold out. A couple of, like, as I said, just really good cards, and she sells singles for them. She does, from what I can tell on the website, she sells sealed packs, the mystery packs on there as well, but at the moment, as I said, they're sold out. There's a couple of other things she sells as well. A lot of awesome, cool things as well. So yeah, finally a shout out to Super Duper Danny, which is the owner of SuperDuperTCG. She's a YouTuber as well. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, her channel is focused on Pokemon TCG, so if you want to see far more professional unboxings or openings for TCG, go check her out. Her socials is SuperDuperDanny on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as Twitch, so go check her out. Highly recommend it, because as I said, she probably knows more about the Pokemon TCG than I personally do. And definitely go check out the SuperDuperTCG website as well. Especially, as I said, if you're interested in this particular mystery pack. It was extremely cheap to buy 100 mystery cards, and she even threw in like some amazing reverse holos and and rares as well. Was not expecting that, so the extra cards, as I said, very thank you very much there. That was definitely not English, but the sentiment was indeed there. So yeah, thanks for throwing in the extras, and again, I am no way affiliated in this. This was just completely out of curiosity there, just to see what the mystery pack was like, and what the quality of the cards were. And if you guys are, as I said, indeed interested, go check out the website. And I'm rambling on here, so I think that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and the next time we meet up for an unboxing, whether it be for Thingamajig Thursday or Trading Card Tuesday, I generally do not know what we're doing, because I have generally no planned in mind at the moment. I'm kind of winging it and I'm about to have a coughing fit. So, ciao for now. I hope to see you next time. Ciao.